There is currently a problem facing the United States that is affecting the lives of thousands of people throughout the country that needs serious attention and reform. In U.S. prisons, there are currently thousands of people convicted of marijuana charges, with majority of them being for possession or minor trafficking. This is unacceptable, and this problem that's affecting many prisoners needs a major reform from the whole U.S. justice system. After extensive research and my own proper survey, my data supports my speech and the points made in it. With proper reform and justice, these convicted prisoners could go on to live their lives as though they were never in prison in the first place. So first, there's currently a problem facing prisoners in prison on marijuana charges in places where it is now illegal. Research by the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics show that there's approximately 191,000 people in state prison. 7% of them are behind bars for marijuana possessions only, which is still a staggering 13,370 people. This also doesn't take into account the 120,000 people awaiting sentences or in local jails, or of the people in federal prison or in juvenile hall. Some even have life sentences for trafficking a small amount of marijuana before the government was able to take a tax or a profit. According to the NCDAs, or the National Center for Drug Abuse, as of 2019, the marijuana's industry value is estimated to be over $15 billion and is projected to hit $100 billion just by the year 2030 as it becomes legal everywhere and is used for recreational purposes. Companies now have the ability to make millions selling actual tons of marijuana, while there are currently people in jail for selling less than a pound of the substance to an often undercover cop. This problem that is plaguing many good people behind bars greatly affects them to the point where they are convicted until the time they are no longer seen as felons. People who are convicted of the act face discrimination, while those on probation from the act have been released also face the same unnecessary consequences felons of higher degrees do, as well as affect Americans economically every year. According to the NCDAS, past convictions reduce the likelihood of a job offer by 50%, or more with the percentage rate as high as 75% of the color. While it doesn't completely bar a person from employment, it greatly reduces their options. Another place where people who have been convicted of marijuana possession who lose basic necessary rights is in the eligibility to get federal financial aid, says research by the Drug Policy Alliance. Apart from not only affecting prisoners negatively, marijuana arrests cost Americans billions every year in economic damages. According to data by the American Civil Liberties Union, enforcing possession laws that lead to those arrests cost police $3.6 billion every year. At Insider, research by Walt Hickey and Kelly McLaughlin, based on the research by the ACLU, state at that rate, police spent $4,390 per arrest between 2001 and 2010, or approximately $73,000 per felony conviction. This number is absolutely incredible, as a lot of Americans don't even make that much as a yearly income. A problem obviously needs a solution, and that's exactly what I propose here. A solution to this problem is not as difficult as one may point it out to be. However, there will most likely be controversy surrounding marijuana due to being drugs, so everyone coming together on a solution is an ongoing process. The easiest solution of some of the marijuana convictions would be quite simply to legalize it, which 11 states and the District of Columbia have already done. A survey done by myself of 23 people indicated that around 60% of the individuals did either agree or strongly agree that marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. According to research by John Gramlich, this research correlates with 2/3 of U.S. adults who also agree that marijuana should be legal. While this may not be all of the individuals, it is clearly in favor of those who are against it, as only 16% disagreed or strongly disagreed with the question. Another solution would be an automatic expungement of those who have been let out of jail. ACLU Executive Director Amal Sinha said in 2018, forcing people to bear the consequences of criminal conviction for offense that's no longer considered a crime simply prolongs the injustices of the failed discriminatory drug war. A last solution to the problem would be to find some other way to have those convicted on marijuana charges leave other than paying a fine, which they not be able to pay at a time landing them in jail, or just straight up going to jail. Community service, for example, not only benefits the community to some degree, but also helps the person convicted do something better than just sit in jail cell all day or have to pay a fine that they might not be able to have the money to pay the fees. So, in conclusion, as legalization of marijuana continues to expand throughout not only the US but the world in the distant future, I hope to find justice and freedom for those who have been convicted of possession or minor nonviolent trafficking. Like stated before, we currently face a problem that is affecting those without much of a voice behind bars. This problem is not only seen by us every year financially, but is also faced one-on-one every day by the actual prisoners of their once legal actions. This action does not deserve to go punished forever, and with some work by the U.S. justice system, we will be able to see these actions not unfairly punished with the justice freedom to those who are not seen as threats. Because those behind bars don't have a voice, a call to action by the people is required to get them free into the world, and participating in your local elections and keeping up one policies is a great way to start. Hopefully, as the years go by, the number of inmates on remedial marijuana charges hits none in a time where there is clearly a problem for them where a solution is required.